This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there. Welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches Amberlynn read part 4 of her Q&A. Amber goes to war. Hopefully we'll get through this one a little bit faster. Mainly because I know y'all like Amber. I know I built the channel around Amber, but it's, you know, there are other things I want to talk about. Anyway, but I do want to get through these because I do think they are interesting. I think this episode is particularly interesting to me because of how and why she goes after Zachary Michael. Again, it's going to be at the end. Again, I will try not to yammer as much as humanly possible. Well, okay, I will. Let's be honest. I have notes. I will try to stick to my notes more than just rambling on about tarot cards, apparently. And yeah, so anyway. Oh, I haven't done this. Sorry. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Please hit the thumbs up button and hit the like or whatever. And let me know how you're doing. Guys, it's been a day. I got nothing for you. I really don't. And yes, that was the other thing I was going to tell you. Today is January 15th, just so that people can have a timeline for these. And this video, opening up about my relationship with Tommy, foster care, and the Tea on Reaction channels. This is from 8 days ago, which would have been January 7th. And my nose is very itchy. And that's all. Oh, I do have her sped up. I do have her sped up. I got nothing else, so let's jump into this.
Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So this is the final part in the 4-part series where you guys have asked me 100 questions and I answered 25 in each video. So things kind of got heated.
Be funny if she'd be like, you guys asked me 100 questions and I answered 25. It's very Amber too. I don't know what I'm playing with slime wise. I'll let you know when we get to it.
I'm not gonna lie. Part 4, like who knows what's gonna happen. So as a disclaimer,
you know what's going to happen because you are in charge of this. Like, you know what questions. You've already picked the questions. You've already thought out the answers.
I just feel like I need to say this because I don't know if you guys have seen the other 3 parts, but if you haven't, you definitely should. The reason why I'm
That's objective.
doing this is because for the next 10 days, I am going to be kind of busy and I'm not really going to have time to edit, but I am going to be filming, so don't worry about that. And I wanted to keep my promise and upload every other day for you guys. So in order to do that, sometimes I have to pre-film. So let's get into it. What is the update on the BPD therapist for you? So I was going to see a BPD therapist when I was in Wisconsin, but they were located in Wisconsin.
But I wasn't trying to move in with Tommy, you guys.
I was wasn't thinking at the time, and I do not live in Wisconsin. I live in Oklahoma. So now I have to.
Uh-huh. So why were you looking for doctors in Wisconsin? Like, she tattles on herself. She tells us for 2.5 months, you guys, I haven't moved. You guys, I haven't moved. You guys, I haven't moved. But I'm looking for a BPD therapist, which is a long-term commitment to therapy, by the way, which will never happen. But I'm looking for a BPD therapist in Wisconsin, not Oklahoma. Why? So this is Law 27. Play on people's need to believe, right? By discussing her search for the therapist, she's trying to reinforce the narrative that she's actively seeking help, and she's trying to divert focus from the allegations that she's fabricating this diagnosis. I mentioned this last video. There is a growing contingent within the group, within girl world, that Amber has never actually been diagnosed with the BPD. And there's a contingent, because I like that word, within that group that do not believe she even has BPD. So, which, I mean, anything could be true with Amber. Probably we're right. I personally do not think she's been formally diagnosed. I think she's picked this diagnosis up. I honestly think she picked it up from Alexis. And she's just kind of running with it. So there you have it. That's my opinion on it. I don't think Amber has it. Maybe she does, but I don't think she's been formally diagnosed, which is why everything she says about BPD is usually wrong. I don't think she's said anything correct about BPD yet. And I know this because everyone who has BPD in my chat, in my comment section, usually speaks up when Amber talks about BPD. So I'm just going to go on Amber usually is wrong, because Amber is usually wrong. This is also a dirty war strategy of shifting the spotlight. She's trying to frame this logistical barrier. Oh, I found a therapist in Wisconsin, but I live in Oklahoma, as the actual issue. But I had a therapist, you guys. He just isn't in the state I live in. And therefore, she's shifting responsibility away from herself for her own lack of follow through with whatever appointment she didn't make in the first place. But more interestingly, by admitting that she was looking for a doctor or found a doctor in Wisconsin, but I was a dumb, you guys. Are the kids saying that now? Because I don't like that. That's dumb. Anyway, yeah, but she's looking for long-term care in Wisconsin, but she didn't move there. She was trying to move in. Amber does this. She calls it U-Haul lesbian, where basically two people start dating and they just instantaneously move in with each other. And apparently it's like a lesbian thing. I don't know. It's a stereotype is what it is. Amber likes to lean into it because Amber does this. Amber starts dating people and she just moves in with them, right? She just moved in with Casey. She just moved in with Crystal. She moved in with Destiny. She moved in with Beck. She moved Wifey in with herself. And now she's trying to get someone to either move in with her or her move in with someone else. Like, she was trying to get Valentine to move in with her. And she honestly thought that Valentine was going to move in with her around August of last year. And then she went to go visit Tommy in October and didn't come home until mid-December. And she originally said she was only going to be there for like 7-10 days or something like that. And she's like, I don't know where you guys are getting that number. You told us that number. Anyway, so that's the more interesting little detail here about the BPD therapist and her finding a therapist in Wisconsin. It's just absolutely backing up the idea that most of us had, that she was just trying to like forcibly move herself into Tommy's house in Wisconsin. So there we go.
Refine someone. That's literally the update. Will you consider doing daily weigh-ins for YouTube again? I don't think that I'll ever do daily weigh-ins on YouTube again, but for myself, yes. Will I give you guys weigh-ins eventually once I start semaglutide? Yes. Am I nervous? Yes. But is it going to happen? It is. I'm not sure how frequent I'm going to do these weigh-ins, but they're definitely going to be here. When was the last time?
The daily weigh-ins, we talked about this in the last video, how Amber likes to keep her answers incredibly vague and very open, because it allows her to come back later and revise them as necessary. So this falls under Law 33, where you're concealing your attention. Her vague answers about the future weigh-ins leaves room for flexibility. And she can also avoid commitment if things backfire. She doesn't want to start giving us weigh-ins until she starts the semaglutide, because she knows she's over 600 pounds. And that's not a narrative she wants to do. So probably what she's going to do is take the semaglutide until she's under 600 pounds and then do a weigh-in. That's my prediction. This is a guerrilla war strategy. It's delaying confrontation. She's deferring accountability while maintaining the appearance of transparency. I'm going to weigh in. I'm going to weigh myself. Will I share it with you guys? Maybe, but I'm weighing in. I'm tracking my own weight, right? Kind of a thing. So that's what's going on there.
Time you spoke to your brothers or dad? So I don't speak to my dad by choice. I love him dearly, and that comes unconditional.
I thought she talked to him like last year sometime. I remember her bawling about it. I don't remember exactly when.
I do get updates on him because I do worry about him. But the last time I talked to him was probably like a year and a half ago. One of my brothers I messaged just like a week ago, and the other one was probably like 2 weeks ago.
This is an important part of the video because Amber loves to rub her relationship with Tommy in our face. She loves to anger her haters And this is one of the ways she does it. She has a variety of ways. One of them is not showing the animals because she knows that upsets people. And this constant, like, it's Tommy on the phone. I have to take this call from Tommy on the phone. Oh my God. Remember, she recorded all of these in the same day. Just remember, she said that. She said she recorded all 4 of these videos in the same day. And so far, this is the second call from Tommy. I might be the third. But yeah, she's doing this on purpose because she also gets a lot of flack because when she was doing lives, she would take calls from both Wifey and Alexis at the time because they were on speaking terms then. And so this is just her utilizing that as a way to infuriate and enrage the audience. So that's why this is an important moment. Otherwise, this is just Amber being Amber.
Tommy's calling. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. So yeah, the last time I spoke to my dad was a year and a half ago, and Brothers is like hiccups. 2 weeks. How tall are you? So I'm 5'3", and every single time I meet a subscriber, okay, I'm not gonna say every single time. See, me and Absolutes, we just like are best friends or something. A lot of the time when I meet subscribers, people are like, oh my God, like you are so much shorter than I thought you were. For some reason, a lot of people online think I'm like 5'7", 5'8". No, I say I'm.
Who the fuck thinks she's that tall? Because like, Amber's actually 3 inches taller than me if she's actually 5'3". So
5'3", but I'm like 5'2.5". What is something you want to do on your YouTube?
That half-inch, man, that makes a difference.
YouTube channel that you haven't done before. So I thought of this idea because of all the fan art that you guys have been sending me, like the whole time I've been on YouTube. But then like me finally showing it to my audience was so fun that I thought of an idea.
She was enjoying that. She was, and then she stopped doing it because she accidentally showed a person who claimed it was a troll. So she accidentally showed troll art. I don't know which one it was because all of the pictures were really good and none of them seemed particularly trolly. But anyway, apparently she did end up showing a troll's picture as part of the fan art. I think it was the one she got off of Instagram. Anyway. So for her to say that she's going to do this like art contest where she's going to be the judge. I don't know. Probably it'll never happen. But if it does, I find it interesting because how is she going to open it up? How is she going to keep people from, how is she going to like vet it for trolls? I don't know. It's because there's going to be trolls. There be trolls in them there hills.
I kind of want to have like a little contest where people are competing. I'm the judge and there will be a cash prize. So I haven't really gone into like.
I am very surprised she says cash prize because, oh yeah, things that she's done that make her a shitty person. Offering a cash prize before in the past and then not following through on it.
The logistics of it all and all that. But it's an idea that I'm having and I really think it would be fun to do in 2025.
I think it's a terrible idea.
So I'm just putting that out there that there might be a little competition starting soon.
I should have put my fake nails on so that I could also do the clicky click. I will say when I wear my fake nails, which I do need to put on, doing this number and hearing the click and like tapping, it's ASMR. I don't wear nails nearly as long as hers because I like to be able to like, I don't know, function. But I know there's people who can wear nails like this and still somehow manage their day. Props to you. That is not me.
Obviously, I will definitely keep you guys updated. You've faced a lot of hate online over the years. Do you ever feel like you deserved some of it, or is there a part of you that feels completely misunderstood?
No one sent this question in.
I do not think I have done anything that deserves downright hatred.
I'm not going to forgive you for the cat. Straight up not going to forgive you for the cat. Multiple accusations of abuse. Literal videos where we can watch you doing it. You prevented your girlfriend at the time from going to see her dying mother because you didn't want to be left alone. And you wouldn't go with her. Not really the actions of somebody who doesn't deserve some kind of repercussions for that. That's a shit move, by the way. In case anyone needed that to be verified. What else have you done? Oh, yeah. Making false accusations of very serious things against people that truly affected their lives and probably still does affect their life to this day. Let's see. What else have you done? There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. Probably, maybe having a hand in another cat's disappearance. I don't think you actually did anything physically to the cat, but it's probably another oops, the cat got out situation. Putting it out there. I'm not usually Team Gracie on this one, but I could be, especially after Rarity. The similarities are a little too much. What other things have you done? Oh, yeah. Calling your partner at the time, the mother of the partner at the time, right before or right after she got out of surgery for said cancer, and basically yelling at them on their voicemail because they hadn't said enough thank yous to you, or they weren't appreciative enough to you for the money that you had given them to help them out while they were battling cancer. That's kind of a shit move. What else is there? So many things. I'm gonna stop now, though. I mean, again, there are so many documentaries out there about Amber. I just recommend the Mr. Snowflake ones because I think they're the best. But even then, you can go to Omegion. He does some fabulous year-end reviews of Amber and her shit behavior.
Criticism? Yes. Critique? Yes. Opinions? Yes. Go for it all day. But stalking? No. Harassment? No. Bullying? No. Hate?
I don't think she deserves to be stalked. I don't think she deserves to be harassed. I don't think she deserves... What did she say? Bullying? That... Hate, that's a thing I can't stop people from doing. I can't stop you from doing anything, honestly. But, you're going to hate somebody. There are people who hate other people, other girls in girl world, and I'm just like, I don't understand it all. Why such a strong emotion for these people? So, I mean, that's something people are going to do. But, no, I don't think it's right to stalk her or to bully her. And not only do I think it's not a great thing to do because it's just not a great thing to do, period, end of discussion, but it lowers you to her level. Why do you want to fight with her on her own level when you're already starting several steps above? Why do you want to descend into the mud to have a fight with Amber when all you have to do is stand on the ledge and look down? You know, you're already better than her going into the combat. Just leave her down there. Don't go down there with her.
No. Do I feel misunderstood? Yes. All of the time. Because I will literally say something, do something that has one meaning and one explanation, but somehow once it's put on YouTube and everyone watches it and the reaction channels and everyone comments on it, and it becomes something completely different. And I'm like, what?
Here is something that I don't think people understand about art, about music, about YouTube videos, anything creative, anything that you are going to put out into the universe. After it has left your hands and you hit the send button, you have no control over it anymore, right? And you have no control over how people are going to interpret these things. You may have made something with the intention of displaying the deepest, happiest emotions that you have ever had, and that was your intention. I'm expressing my overjoyment and my love and whatever in this whatever I have, right? And you hit the send button and you put that out in the world, there is going to be someone who's like, oh my God, why would you do something so horrible, right? That's just how it is, right? I don't understand, after being on the internet, after being on YouTube for 11 years, going on 12, how she doesn't get it that once you upload a video and you make it live, people are going to take it the way they're going to take it, regardless of what you intended it to be. You have no control over that anymore. If you don't want people commenting on your shit, don't put your shit out there, right?
What just happened? That's a big misunderstanding. So yes, I do feel misunderstood. And I know that's a cliche thing that people say, but I genuinely deep down don't feel like people understand me.
And if that's a continuing problem, that means you're not explaining your position well enough for people to understand, right? There's me not understanding because I don't have the skills to understand, and there's me not understanding because you are not explaining it in a way that it can be understood. 90% of the time, I would say the problem is Amber, because Amber tries to play games, and when she tries to play games, she usually gets herself in trouble because she talks faster than she thinks, and she tries to outsmart the audience, and it just doesn't work for her. So it's usually Amber's fault if there is a misunderstanding.
What exactly is your...
Okay. So, but this does fall under Law 31, the control the options, by framing criticism as hate, which a lot of these girls do. She's trying to limit the audience's interpretation of the extremes. They either support her or they are bullying her. We've seen Anna do this. We've seen Anna state this with her own mouth, that any form of criticism is bullying. End of discussion. So you are either kissing my ass or you're bullying me. Amber is trying to pull that right now here. Like, you either are supporting me, you're either with me, or you're misunderstanding me and bullying me on purpose, right? And this falls under the war of attrition, where she's just trying to create fatigue and to get the supporters of the reaction channels to stop supporting them by just constantly making the same point over and over again until people get tired of hearing it. She's just trying to wear it down, right? It won't work, but this is her thing. It's like a lie told enough times becomes truth. Right, but only if people want to believe it, right? It's not actually truth then either. It's just people perceive it as truth. But if people don't want to believe it, they're not going to, and it won't move into the realm of truth. Anyway.
Your foster care timeline, because we are all so confused. So it does sound confusing because I was in foster care from the ages of 8 to 18. I was ward of the state, and I know you guys hear me talk a lot about...
I don't know why this is a question. I don't know why people are confused about her foster care timeline. She's talked about it a lot. It seems to me like it's pretty... I mean, I know her foster care timeline. It's pretty cut and dry. Now, little tiny details here and there, those things definitely are questionable, but like the actual like high, like the dominant timeline, she's pretty much stuck with that the entire time she's been talking about it.
Oh, well, when I was younger, my parents, my dad, my this, my that, my grandma. And then you guys go, but wait a minute, I thought you were in foster care. So let me explain. So I was 8 years old when I was first taken from my parents.
She might have at this point said at some point that she was 9 or something like that. She may be off by a year, but I've only ever heard her say she was 8 when she started in the foster care system.
That is when I became ward of the state, in and out of foster homes, shelters, and group homes. I was 13 years old when they made the decision, okay, we're going to give your parents a chance. It's going to be considered a trial. You're going to live with them.
And she's stuck with this story a lot. Like she's told this story all the way back as Crystal Era.
You're still going to be ward of the state, but you're going to live with them and see how they do as parents. That lasted a year and a half. I was then taken again out of my parents' home at 15 and put back and forth, gotcha, bouncing around. So from 8 to 18, I lived with my parents for a year and a half of that time. But during all this other time of when I was in foster homes, group homes, shelters, I was allowed visitation. Visitation always changed depending on my age, how my parents was doing, where I was living. Sometimes we were only able to be in like this tiny little room with supervision. Then as I got a little older, all of a sudden my dad was allowed to pick me up. My mom was allowed to pick me up. They were allowed to take me for the day, or they could take me for a couple hours. Like, it was always different. But for the most important times of my life, the first 8 years, I was in a brutal home. Brutal. And then at 8, for a decade, I never knew safety. I never knew home. I was always with strangers, shelters, group homes. I never even knew that actually while living with my parents. I never knew safety. I never knew warmth. Like, those years are detrimental to a human.
I don't know. I can tell you, just watching Amber as long as I have, something ain't right with the girl. And she is correct. Your early years are when you develop things like empathy, the ability to sympathize with other people, emotions. So not having that I mean, it's documented, this kind of shit. It will screw a kid up. End of discussion. I have always said, you don't have to work hard to convince me that Amber has had a shit childhood, because I've watched her for 11 years. Not 11 years. No. Well, 7.5 at this point, but I've watched 11 years of Amberlynn. You're not going to convince me that she had a happy, lovey, woohoo time when she was as a child, because something ain't right. The little details here and there, like when was she in what foster home and when was she in what house or whatever. I don't know enough about the system to comment on any of that. I've had a couple people in my comment section talk about that they work in systems, but I also know that the foster care system is different from state to state, so I don't know, right? And the problem, I've talked about this a lot on my channel. The problem with Amber's foster care stories is that we only have one informant, and that's Amber, right? So whether she is not a reliable informant, I know that, but the problem is I have no other informant that I can fall back on. It's not like something like the Space Dance Academy, where at the time when she first started telling this weird space story, the Dance Academy story, we only had Amber as our informant, right? And so whether she was lying to us or not, we only had that information, okay? And then it comes out that that person's in my comment section, that there was a person who was in space at the time that Amber was claiming that she was in space, or at least close to that time. And, that person heard Amber talking about, modern Amber talking about that. And so they went back and did their own little research, because they were actually part of the dance group and they were actually doing the dances and the things that Amber was claiming that she did. And that's how we know that Amber was basically a water girl. She was basically the water boy. She didn't do the dances. She wasn't a choreographer. Like, what? Who would believe that anyway? I just like, look, she's not a reliable narrator, okay? That's the point. But until we had a second resource, a second informant that we could get reliable information from, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is what is happening, but the reality of the situation is this person could be lying their ass off. I have no way of verifying that, right? This person could be completely making shit up. I have no way of verifying this in any way, shape, or form, right? But I think they've been vetted by the farms, and so that's good enough for me at this point. But that's the other thing about this. Amber is such an unreliable narrator that when provided with a new narrator, a new informant, it's easier to just kind of believe the new informant, or at least incorporate what the new informant is saying, than it is to continue to believe Amber, right? And so going back to her childhood and her foster care timeline, again, I have never heard her really waver that much about the master timeline of it all. Like, I was 8, they got me back when I was 13, and that didn't work. And then I was in the system until she was 18, because you get booted at 18. She's not really changed that story too much. I think maybe once or twice she said she was 9. That's not that big of a deal for me. The other little details, like where exactly she was at any given point, I don't know. I honestly don't recall her talking about it over much. She'll just vaguely say, one time I was in this place, or one time I was here, or when I was in this particular place. She never really gives timeline for that. So that might be what the actual question was for. Like, what's the timeline of where you were with all these other little stories, right? So all these little subplots to the main plot. But this is Amber. She's trying to guard her reputation here. It's law number 5. She's sharing the foster care experience selectively, right? And she's trying to protect her image while adding emotional depth to her narrative. We don't have anybody that can counter Amber's foster care stories. We just don't. Her brothers aren't going to come forward and talk about it. Her mom might, maybe someday, but probably even if Mama Lynn did, I suspect that it would probably back up or reinforce what Amber says herself, because I don't see Mama Lynn going against Amber's stories, right? I just don't see that happening, because why would she? Mama Lynn is trying desperately to be Amber's friend because she was clearly not a good mother. Shit happens, all right? So that kind of a thing. We will never have another reliable, well, maybe not, never is maybe a bit much, but we currently do not have a reliable secondary source for Amber's stories. So unfortunately, when this happens, we kind of have to take things the way Amber says them. We don't have to believe them, don't get me wrong, but we kind of have to work with what we're given. This is an anthropology thing, right? Even when I know or suspect that my source, my informant, is not truthful or is not reliable, it's the only informant I have, right? So I have to go with what I'm given at the time until I find other sources or other informants that I can verify that first informant against, like my primary informant, right? So this is not the same as me saying I believe Amber. I do actually believe some of the things she says. I believe the majority of the stuff, actually, because I don't have a reason not to, other than she just lies. But just because she's my only informant doesn't mean I have to believe her, but it does mean that that's the only information I have. I hope that makes sense, because when I say these things, I get people in my comments who are like, why are you defending her? I'm not. I'm just trying to explain to you how anthropology works. But here we are. This is also the death ground strategy. She's trying to inspire sympathy by portraying herself as a survivor of trauma. She's trying to garner empathy and deflect criticism. You can't criticize me. I'm a victim. I can criticize you even if you are a victim. I can acknowledge that you are a victim and still be critical. You being a victim does not shield you from criticism. Sorry. Nothing shields you from criticism. As long as people are alive and they have brains and they have mouths that can form words and speak, you cannot be shielded from criticism. It just is not something that can happen. Anyway, that being said, I think I beat the foster care timeline thing to death, but when she brings up her foster care system stories, she's trying to defend stories that she has told in the past at this point. But it's because she wants that reputation of, oh, you can't say anything about me. I had a poor, pitiful, awful childhood. Everything that's wrong with me right now is because of my childhood. And it's like, sweetheart, yes, you had a shit childhood. I will give you that card right off the bat. You can run with that as far as you want. You're 33. At some point, you have to stop being a victim. Like, at some point, the things that are going wrong stop being someone else's fault, and you have to start taking responsibility for it. Is it fair? No. Right? At some point, you're handed that. Right now, when you're a kid, your parents have that deck of cards, and they are effing that deck of cards up. Like, they are doing their damnedest to make sure that deck of cards is screwed as much as possible, right? Hopefully not, really. And then when you become an adult, or you hit whatever adulthood marker that you need to hit to be considered an adult by society, your parents hand you that deck of cards, and you are stuck with that deck of cards. Is it fair? No. Do you got to work with what you've got? Yes. You're the only person who can mess with that deck of cards at this point. I know it's not fair. I know people don't like to hear it. Amber certainly doesn't like to hear it. Anna doesn't like to hear it. It's having a shitty childhood is an explanation. It's not an excuse. Anyway, I have definitely beaten this to death now.
And the trauma of my childhood and my teenage years, like, it broke me. I was broke.
Okay, I wasn't done. Amber is also not the only person on the fucking planet that had a shitty childhood. Okay? There are people who had shittier childhoods than her, right? There are people who have better childhoods by far. There are people who had childhoods exactly like hers. But Amber wants to hold on to this as if it is something unique to her. And I guess in the absolute definition of uniqueness, it is, because no one can 100% reproduce her experiences. But Amber, you're not that fucking special. It's just kind of where I want to go with this. And also, if you're really that fucking traumatized from your childhood at the age of 33 going on 34, or maybe you're 34 going on 35, there's a thing called therapy that you can afford to do. You should probably go do that.
Due to someone else's fault. Having to fix something I didn't break hurts. Wow, that
And? Like, seriously. And? I'm sorry. Do you want a fucking gold star? Like, of course it hurts. Who gives it? Go to the therapist.
Kind of went somewhere else. It's hard for me to talk about my foster care experience because, like, it is
because you get called on the details.
So painful and real. Like, it's the realest thing that's like ever happened to me. But it's touchable to you guys. And the best way for me to explain that is, like, I know there's a lot of you who are watching and care about me and love me, so this isn't directed towards you. There's a big portion of people who watch me who really strongly dislike me and twist everything that I say and call me a liar, etc., etc. I'm afraid.
Are the people that tell you to go to a therapist so that you can deal with your trauma and your wounds from the past, do we count as people who care and well, I don't love you, but, you know, as a human, I care about you. Like, do we fall into that category? Or are we in the category of people that hate you because we are telling you to go take responsibility for your shit? Asking for a friend.
For those people to touch that, to touch my foster care experience, because...
Sweetheart, nobody's touching you. I'm not even convinced Tommy touches you.
It's something that has transformed my whole life, even as a 34-year-old woman. I don't want the haters to touch that, to twist that, to turn it into something that it's not.
But I'll tell you everything else.
And I think that's why, like, I always just in passing mention foster care. I've never, ever gone into detail of what my life was like truly as a child in foster care or out of foster care. Like, I have never gone into detail. I've done, like, in passing communications about it, but nothing true and deep because I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I am. Were you high filming the pizza and Doritos viral video? Yes, I had smoked a lot of Delta 8.
I don't care. We've talked a lot through all four of these videos about her addressing the online hate and the phobia. These are dirty war. I've talked about the dirty war strategy where she frames the criticisms as a societal problem, or she tries to flip the narrative back around. That was what I was trying to say earlier. Flip the narrative back around onto her, onto the reaction channels and anyone who has any kind of question about her. And we've also talked about Law 44, which is disarm and infuriate, with the mirror effect, which is the flipping it back around onto the people who are criticizing her. So she's establishing, whenever she addresses online hate, she has to first establish herself as a victim, right? And that's what all of that was about. And then she has to portray the people the haters, as bad, nasty, good, no good people, right? And then eventually she pulls the reaction channels in because that's the only interaction she really has with Hater Nation. And that's fair, honestly. But that's her routine with this, right? Establishes that she's a victim, establishes that everybody's mean to her for no reason, calls us fat phobic because that also takes away any criticism. It takes away the power of any criticisms that we have. We're not being critical of her because there are literal things to be critical of her. We're just being critical because we're fat phobic and we just don't like fat people on the internet. Do you understand that, like, a good chunk of us who react to you are fat people on the internet? Just, pointing that out to you. Anyway, but that's the strategy, right? And she's learned, because in the past she hasn't done this, she has learned to say things like, I know there's a chunk of you that care about me and love me and yada, yada, yada. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this group of evil, nasty people. Also, by acknowledging that she is not talking to her supporters, which, she has failed to do in the past, and it has bitten her in the ass, she also kind of rallies those supporters against the nasty, nasty, no good haters, right? Because now, oh, you are my chosen people, and these people are evil, and I'm such a victim of these evil people. Oh, if only there was something someone would do. That's what's happening here. I hope you enjoyed my Shakespearean reenactment of that. So let's move on, because I'm sure this is going to be another fucking 2-hour video.
Before that clip, is there anything that you're keeping from us? Of course, every single YouTuber is keeping something from you.
Yes.
I promise. What state did you grow up in? Because you remind me of the girls I met in California, especially in the way that you talk.
No, you don't. I don't know who put this question in here, if it even is a real question. You are a mimic. I have no idea what that was. You are a mimic. You are 100% a mimic. You absorb and repeat whatever you're around, right? But she desperately wants to be a Cali girl. And so when she has nothing to mimic, she falls back on this very stereotypical Valley girl performance, right? And I'm going to stand by that. So no, you don't. You act like a Valley girl from television. So in that aspect, yes, you act like every Valley girl, every Cali Valley girl I've ever seen in any movie and in any television show ever. So in that aspect, you nailed it, right? As for real life people, I'm 90% sure you're not even close.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, because I actually grew up in California. And since that's the time where you're like growing and you're learning everything, I still have so much California in me. I left California when I was 18. And it's like, since then, I have lived in so many different places, and I have learned and
I've lived in more places than you have.
Experienced different things and different accents and this and that, because I'm very much the type of person
that absorbs the personality of the people around me.
I sometimes like mimic accents. And I know a lot of people can do that, and it is very much a thing that people do.
It is. Most people have a hard time sitting down with a accent and not picking up some of the little ticks of the accent, right? But that's what makes the accent an accent, right? If I sit down, I do this with British people. Like people from across the pond. When I sit down and have conversations with them, especially since like I fake an accent like that as in jest a lot of the time, you start picking it up very quickly. Like I think most people would do, right? But I don't sound British. I sound like an American pretending to be British. That's the dig of an accent. Amber doesn't sound like she's from California. She sounds like somebody who's pretending to sound like they're from California, which is usually what her accents end up being. She doesn't sound like she's from wherever the fuck it is she's trying to pretend to be from. She sounds like somebody pretending to be from there, right? It's an act, and it's a bad act, but it is something that she does every single time she gets a new girlfriend. She absorbs their personality to the point where she will absorb whatever disorders they have, like general anxiety disorder, BPD, depression. You know, she has stolen disorders from every single girlfriend she's ever been with and continues to do so. That's another reason why I'm like, she's not been diagnosed with shit. Anyway.
Even without even realizing it. But one accent has always stuck with me, and that's obviously where I was raised, California, because that's truly what's in my heart, and I miss it there so much. Like,
wow, dude, I miss it there too.
California is everything to me. Does the hate online towards Tommy reflect your relationship at all? It did in the beginning, and we almost like indefinitely broke up. Like, it was almost over for real, for real. It was scary. It was sad. It was.
Tommy knows that she landed the great white whale, and Tommy isn't going to let go of this until Tommy is ready to let go.
It was vicious. Like, I felt horrific, like genuinely, for her and for myself. Like, she had never ever experienced something like that, and her mental health got so bad, it genuinely worried me.
I do believe that Tommy wasn't quite prepared for Hater Nation. I do believe that. I don't think anybody is actually prepared for Hater Nation, like the full force of it. Unfortunately, Tommy decided to date Amber. That was your first mistake. And that's just, unfortunately, how this shit goes down. So yeah, I'm willing to believe that Tommy was not prepared for that. I honestly don't think anybody would be. Even people who know what it is, I don't think would be prepared for that.
To me. But we chose love. and we chose happiness, and we do that every single day, minus how many people want to tear us apart. What is something you're currently looking forward to? Tommy's actually coming to visit me, and I am so freaking excited. You have no idea. Are you going to get your pets microchipped?
No.
Like, I never in a million years thought something would happen to my babies. Like,
that's why you get your pets microchipped, in the off chance that they escape or something happens, so you can find your pet again. You don't have the thing happen and then go get the pet microchipped. It's too late at that point. But no, she's not going to get her pets microchipped.
Like that, like I genuinely didn't. Like, it feels like a freak accident. But
twice? The same freak accident twice? That's weird.
I suck. Accidents happen, and I should have had the microchip sooner, but yes, I am. What kind of nutritionist are you seeing? An RDN, which stands for a registered dietitian nutritionist.
She's not seeing anybody. She's getting medicine from a med spa that she probably found online. She's probably getting medicine from like Wisp or Hers, or what's the other one that I'm always getting commercials for? I don't remember. Muse, I think it is. Muse or Musely, something like that.
Why won't you confirm or deny anything Alexis said about you and Feline? Because I told Feline that I was not going to talk about her.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'll say...
To be fair, I will say this. Amber hasn't said too much about Feline, but she's starting to get comfortable in her relationship with Tommy, and that's typically when Amber starts bad-mouthing the ex, right? So I'm pretty sure if this relationship with Tommy goes for, I don't know, like 6 months or more. Let's put it that way. I think Amber will feel confident enough to start bad-mouthing wifey at that point. But we'll see.
Things in passing like this, but I am not going to sit here, talk about our relationship, talk about her as a person. I'm not going to say anything, even if that makes me look horrifically bad. Why?
I don't think it makes you look bad. Honestly, that if you wouldn't just not talk about your exes, that would actually be a strike in your favor. But that's me.
Why do you think people glorify and accept reality TV stars or other YouTubers for doing the same exact things that you do, but yet you get so much hate and judgment for the exact same things?
Again, no one actually asked this question. This is a question that Amber asked herself, because this is the question Amber wants to answer, right? So, but this is the second skirmish. Amber is taking us into it. This is the preamble to it, like the pre-skirmish, the whatever you call it before the major battle.
I feel like I have talked about this in every language known to mankind.
You speak other languages? Pourquoi? I don't know. Sorry, that was terrible. I apologize, but I don't. The only reason I know any French, I think I've said this before. The only reason I know any French is because I played Vampire the Masquerade, and it was live action LARPing. Yes, I'm a LARPer. No one should be surprised. Anyway, I was like Prince of the City for damn near 2 years, and my character was French. Well, my character spoke French. It was a complicated story. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I had to speak French. So that's the literal only reason I know any French whatsoever, and I only know like a handful of words. So there you go.
It's because it's fun to hate the fat girl.
No one hates you because... Okay, some people might hate you because you're fat, but the majority of people don't hate you because you're fat. You being fat doesn't probably help, but you being fat is why people watch. People hate you because of the shit you pull.
Not only that, but it's fun to hate Amberlynn. It's fun to call her a liar. It's fun to create rumors around her.
I mean, that might be true, honestly.
It's fun to nitpick. There has been a whole community of people that have created this safe environment for them.
Say our name. Say our name! Sorry.
For them, not for me. But there's a whole community that feels safe for them because they're leaving their own worlds where they're stressed out or they're depressed or they're going through this or that, and they're attacking the fat chick.
We're not attacking you. But you are right about the rest of that. I will say, Nerfy's Discord, which is what I belong to. I don't own Nerfy's Discord, and I want people to understand that. But if you're ever in one of my lives and you want to join the Discord, that's where I hang out. But Nerfy's Discord is kind of a... She tries to create a space that is very open and wholesome, and there's a lot of things that happen in that Discord. It's not just Girl World. There's actually only like maybe 5 channels altogether that are specific for Girl World. The rest of them are things like gaming, recipes, pets. There's more than one there for like mental health, a couple in there for like physical health. Like she's trying to create a community, right? An online community. So Amber's correct there. I don't know. The rest of it, I'm like, would they let Amber join? I don't think so. But as someone, I think it might actually be eye-opening for Amber to have access to a community like that, even if it was just for a few days. But the problem is Amber would only focus on the channel talking about her, and she wouldn't look around the greater part of the Discord and see the community that's there. And I think even if she did, I think it would be lost on her, the community itself, because Amber isn't capable of building a community like that. Like, why doesn't she have her own Discord? Mainly because running a Discord is a pain in the ass. And that's why I let Nerfy do it, because I don't have the spoons for that. I do not have the spoons. So yeah, that's probably why she doesn't have her own Discord. But I don't think Amber would understand the concept of community between strangers, because let's face it, most of us have not met each other, even online, let alone offline. But we're still relatively supportive of people inside the Discord, right? And some of those people are, they're in my chat. They're people that comment on my videos. I see them in other people's chats, and we recognize each other's names. And so we say pleasantries to each other. Like one of these people that I'm talking about, I know she's having her stomach surgery today, being the 15th, and she came into one of the chats and was like, yeah, tomorrow's my surgery date. She's very excited about it. Everybody was really excited for her. Everybody's saying words of encouragement. We're wishing her a speedy recovery, that kind of stuff. And I don't think Amber would understand that kind of community, because I don't think Amber's capable of that kind of community. Because as Amber herself pointed out, the formative years where Amber needed somebody where Amber was forming her ability to be empathic, sympathetic, actually have emotions, that didn't happen for her. I 100% believe that. And so I don't think Amber is herself capable of that kind of support or sympathy, right? But that's me. Compassion.
Everyone else in the world can be normal humans and make all the mistakes, and that's okay.
Depends on the mistake.
Yes, there will be judgment. But like me, I will make the same mistakes, and people will attack me for a decade about something I did a decade ago.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like my cats haven't run out of my apartment. But when they did, oh my God, I used to have other cats before these cats. And one of was an old man tabby. I loved that cat. I still miss that cat. He was 19 when he escaped from the apartment. I don't know how he did it. He just somehow teleported outside of the fucking apartment. I was a goddamn wreck for almost 24 hours. I was putting his cat box out. I was walking around the neighborhood shaking a treats can. I was screaming his name. I mean, I was looking for this animal, right? And he was chipped. But he was 19. And I was like, oh God, he's crawled off somewhere to go die. I will never find him. All of this stuff. And so I finally was like, it got dark and I was like, oh fuck. I went home and I was like, I'm just going to go home and cry. I get home and the little shit is sitting outside the back door right next to his cat box, looking at me like I'm the idiot. But anyway, my cat came back. But I didn't sit at home. Excuse me. I didn't just sit at home and wait for my cat to meander back, right? I obviously was not doing anything productive looking for him the way I was, but at least I was trying. Amber didn't even do that. She had to be told that was something to do, right? She didn't. She's like, oh, I'm going to put a money reward out. She had to Google what amount of money to offer as a reward for her cat. I'm sorry. Anyway.
It's never going to change. I have to literally embrace it and accept it. What is something that you think isn't fair that the haters or reaction channels have done? So kind of like what I was talking about just now, they've created a whole community.
My cat came in to say hi, and I didn't record it. Sorry.
That thrives on talking badly about me.
I don't. Okay.
Simply more than the typical like, oh, every YouTuber gets hate. It's way more than that. Have you had?
I mean, every YouTuber does get hate. Even the YouTubers that I don't see any problem in. Not that I am the greatest judge. Like, no one should go against my judgment of character. Everybody gets hate. I get hate. I don't go looking for it, but I know it's out there. You know what I do? I don't engage with it. You want to know why? I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know.
Any BPD episodes in your current relationship with Tommy? I have. Yes. Do you?
I have. Yes. I have done things that I have decided to blame on my BPD because I don't want to take responsibility for them. Yes, you are correct.
Any negative thoughts towards starting semaglutide again? I am, because I don't like medicine. You guys know that. Like, I'm scared to take a simple ibuprofen sometimes. Like, my negative thoughts are very, what if something bad happens to my pancreas? Or what if I do get thyroid cancer? Or what if I get really, really bad side effects? What if it kills me? Like, I literally think the worst.
I mean, there are a couple, literally 3 to 5 cases I can think of that I've heard about where people are attributing basically sudden death to taking Ozempic. Specifically Ozempic. Which also makes me go, But there are people who are, what is it called when it's just anecdotal? Anyway, it's just stories right now. I don't think I've seen anything medically say that. But, I mean, water can be lethal, so
I really do think that semaglutide is a great tool for me. So I shoved down those negative thoughts, and that's the very reason why that this is now the 3rd time I've done it. And it's like each time makes sense of why I stopped it.
Does it though? Each time sounds like an excuse. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you had gone to the med spa that you were going to the last time and you claimed that they filled up your syringes and your syringes lost their potency because of that, I'm pretty sure if you went to them, you probably could have gotten newer, more potent syringes. Yeah, you may have had to pay for it because you were probably paying for this shit out of pocket anyway. But I'm just saying, like, if that really was your problem, first off, why were you ordering 2 months worth of syringes in one go? And secondly, I'm almost positive if you went to them and said, hey, these aren't working, can I get fresh ones? Again, they might charge you for it. I would expect them to charge you for it, but you probably could have got fresh syringes if that really was the problem, which it really wasn't. Need I remind you that you did some stupid video where you were clearly doing a commercial of some variety because you were hoping to get sponsored by some other company that was also selling semaglutide shots? You were hoping to get them as a sponsor to pay for this shit. Like, I know it's not cheap, right? But you didn't quit because it stopped being effective.
I never stopped it because I didn't enjoy it. Like, I genuinely loved being on semaglutide where it's like the food noise was gone. I didn't really feel that hungry.
You never talked about any of that. You bitched about it a lot because you were having symptoms, but for side effects, yeah.
Like, that feeling is so nice. Like, I genuinely love it. I'm not gonna lie. And it's because, like, every day of my life, since I was just a little girl, I've always turned to food. Like, that's just what I did. I always think about it, whether it's because I'm happy, so let's celebrate and eat, or I'm depressed, so let's eat because I'm sad. Like, just, it's annoying. So it's nice not to feel that way because it's like, it's a new feeling. Do you want to marry Tommy? Oh, I'm marrying Tommy.
Yeah, like you were gonna marry Wifey. Literally, that was her nickname because the two of you were gonna get married. I think I saw somebody comment about this, but they were like, yeah, you might get engaged to Tommy, but Tommy's never going to marry you.
Do you truly believe Zachary Michael needs you to maintain the amount of money he currently is making on YouTube?
And this is the second attack, which is honestly the most important part of this damn video. This is the second attack. We're going after Zachary Michael. It is very important that you listen to the words that Amber uses while attacking Zachary Michael, because that's what this is. And again, this is another reason why I was like, oh, we should use the strategies of war. So this is Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. Amber's trying to criticize Zachary Michael's reliance on her by acknowledging his general success ensuring her remarks remain impactful without seeming overly bitter. She's very bitter. Very bitter. I think somebody did a comparison of this very video and Zachary Michael's video where he basically tells her to go to hell. He has like 3 times the views on that video than she has on this video, right? So I'm sure that stings. But here we are. But yeah, Amber was trying to, and she's done this before, and she's gone after Zachary Michael like this before, and it didn't work then, and I don't know why she thinks it's going to work now. But she's tried to go after Zachary and make him be the bad guy and make him seem like he's the bad one here and she's the victim and he's an evil, evil bad man. And it, like I said, it doesn't work out for her anytime. She loves to do this shit where, oh, you only have channels because of me. And in Zachary's rebuttal to her, I thought it was very big of him and very like, I don't know, it was just very nice to hear him say, I have never said that your videos don't do well for me. I have always acknowledged that, you know, I react to your videos and I make money off of those reactions. And then he said something to the effect of, girl, it's not like you're not making money on your own videos. So yeah, I mean, he has a point, but he is very honest and upfront about that. And I don't know why she feels like she should go after that, because Zachary also has another channel that I think is gaming related that does very well for him. He does content on his channel that is not Amber related that does very well for him. So I don't know where she's getting this idea that if she vanished tomorrow and we all stopped doing Amberlynn reactions, that our channels would crumble. Maybe some of the very small channels might. My channel would probably take a fairly big hit, but I'm confident that I would be able to still maintain this channel at least and possibly grow a new audience around other topics, right? I don't want to test that, but I could, I think. Zachary, I don't even know if Zachary would even notice, to be perfectly honest with you. Zachary's one of the OG channels. He's got a strong enough following. I don't know how much he makes exactly on that channel, but I know he's got a shit ton of followers, right? Which means he gets a crap ton of view hours, and that's how you get paid. But so I don't even know if he'd really notice if he just stopped making videos about Amberlynn, right? The bigger channels, they have other content. They have a large audience that will be with them no matter what they do, right? Yeah, he's going to take a little bit of a hit. Yeah, there will be people who stop watching because he's not talking about Amber. Yes, that will happen, but will it really affect him? No. And on top of it, Zachary has like a life outside of YouTube. He said he owns property. He's got investments. I think he has a job, or up until recently he had like a job. You know, I mean, he's not, if YouTube vanished for him, he's not going to be hard off. Unlike Amber, who if YouTube just cut her off, she's screwed, right? Anyway, so that's Law 47. Don't go past the mark you aimed for. Amber is going past the mark she aimed for. She aimed for Zachary Michael. She's trying to make herself sound more important than she is, and it's not going to work for her. And this is the dirty war strategy, where she's trying to highlight inconsistencies in his behavior, and she's attempting to erode trust in his critiques. She has done this in the past. It doesn't work. Zachary's audience, I love might be a strong word, but they trust him more than they trust her. So going after Zachary and trying to erode his character and trying to attack the trust in his channel will not work. It didn't work the last time she did it. It's not going to work this time. If anything, she's driving views to his channel. So if anything, you're helping him out. So good job there. And I wanted to read these. I wanted to get the two laws and the law and the strategy out, because I have a lot to say about the bullshit that she pulls here after she accuses Zachary Michael of needing her. But let's go.
I love the way that this question is worded.
Because you wrote it.
Because I don't think Zach needs me in the sense of like to keep his YouTube channel or to keep some views afloat.
I don't believe that you believe that.
Nothing like that. Like, he doesn't need me in that sense. Like, he could post anything and get some views. I do stand
some views
by that. But with the amount of money that he is currently making, he needs me.
I don't know about that. Zachary did say something to the degree of like, yeah, he thought he might take a financial hit on his YouTube channel if he stopped making content about her. I don't think it would be that big of a hit, but that's my personal opinion on the matter. I don't know what Zachary makes. I don't know what Zachary's viewership looks like. I honestly don't watch Zachary Michael, so there you are.
He needs my videos, yes. Without a doubt, 100%. I do believe
he does
that.
not.
Like, it's just a really weird coincidence to me that, like, when I take weeks off, and I've done it a few times recently, let's hope that doesn't happen anytime soon.
Yeah, and you know how hard my channel got hit? Anyway, so I'm willing to bet that Zachary's channel probably didn't get hit that hard either, so sorry, darling.
But it's just really weird to me that when I take weeks off, all of a sudden, Zachary Michael is going through mental health problems, and he can't post, and he doesn't know what to post, and he doesn't feel motivated. Oh, but the minute Amberlynn Reed posts, there's his reaction.
This is why people don't like you. This is why Jordy's a better person than you. You get pissy when people come after you for your mentals and your mental health and whatever Pokemon card you're playing today. You get mad about that, right? Oh, people don't... You guys, I'm going through BPD. I'm going through depression. I'm going through whatever it is that's going to make you not come after me. Oh, I'm going to vanish off of YouTube for 2 weeks with no explanation and no communication to my audience. Oh, you guys, I was just going through it. You just don't understand. Zachary Michael vanishes for 2 weeks, or however long Zachary was gone, or just wasn't making Amberlynn related content, which was probably more accurate. I don't know. And suddenly she's going to mock him for his mental health? Really? Really? This is why people don't like you, Amber. Because it's a rule for you, but not for him. You want protection, and you want to be untouchable because you have a mental disorder, or you have depression. But Zachary, who is actually going through some shit, Zachary doesn't get the same grace, right? If he's claiming to have depression, or he just can't make a video right now, that's just him waiting desperately for Amber to put a video out so that he can make a video because he has no other content. I skimmed Zachary Michael's channel. He's got plenty of other content, right? I have no idea what his content looked like when she decided to just drop off the planet there for a while. I assume he just found other things to talk about. But I do know in his little rebuttal, I only saw the clip of his rebuttal, but I do know in the rebuttal part of his clip, he was talking about how he's going through some shit. Actually going through actual things, right? That you would be like, yeah, okay, take a breather. And I'm also willing to bet if I got on Zachary Michael's community page and I went back to the dates that you are accusing him of just sitting on his thumbs during, I'm willing to bet there's some kind of community post there from Zachary Michael saying something to the effect of, hey, I need some time off. Assuming he took the time off, right? Because she tried to do this with Alex's Shook as well. And I'm almost positive Alex's Shook left some kind of community post saying, hey, I'm not going to be around for a little while because I'm going to take a vacation. Because he's done it every other time he's gone on vacation and hasn't been around. The only channel I follow that just drops off the planet is you, madam. So, there we have that. Also, if you don't want people coming after you because of your fucking made up bullshit mental problems, do not even think about going after other people who have legitimate problems. I'm just saying, that will get you the wrath of God. And it's getting you the wrath of me. And I am God, ergo, the wrath of God. Someone's going to come for me on that one. I'm God.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. Actually, yes, it does. He needs me. Do you strike reaction channels? I striked a couple reaction channels.
Struck. I don't know why this one bothers me as much as it does.
Years ago. And I'm telling you, do not let any reaction channel lie to you, because I stopped watching a certain reaction channel.
I would like to know who she's talking about, because I am genuinely curious. I would like to know who she's talking about here, if you guys know.
I'm not even going to say their name because they don't even deserve for me to say it. But there's a certain reaction channel out there that is making their audience believe that I am striking their channel. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm going to give you a little tea. When your channel is striked.
Struck? I would like to know if anybody knows who this is. And it's pure curiosity. I don't know what I'll do with that information, if anything. I'm just curious because I don't watch enough reaction channels to know who she's talking about.
You know exactly who did it. Because it tells you who did it.
Does it though? Have I been struck? She's talking like copyright strike, right? Okay, I'm trying to think back. A strike is pretty harsh. Like a strike is an actual like black mark on your account. I have had claims twice on three times, I think, on this channel. Once for the movie clip from The Whale during a live. They just shut my live down. That was annoying. One time I got a claim from BuzzFeed. No. Yeah, it was BuzzFeed. But I contested that one and it came back. I was allowed to keep the video up monetized. So that one worked out. I forget what the third one was. I feel like there was a third one. So it did tell me who was making the copyright claim, but I also feel like those were basically just like automated bot kind of things. So I don't know. I have never been struck as far as I'm aware. Because that's like the black mark, right? That's the 3 times you're out thing. So I've not had that happen to me. So if you have, because some of you do have your own channels, do they tell you who struck you? Because I know Dick Nose McGee was like striking channels there for a while if you so much as even breathed his name. So I know a lot of channels got hit with that guy. So I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section down below if you know. It's fine.
So I think people need to start looking around a little bit and stop calling Amberlynn Reed the liar.
But you are a liar.
And look at their favorite reaction channels. They will do anything to make you dislike me because
I don't have to do anything. I don't feel like I actively try to make people dislike you. Much like Snowflake's documentary series I'm just saying your own words back at you and just adding my 2 cents. And I'm not trying to make people dislike you. I'm just pointing out why people don't and why certain things that you're doing in the modern era reflect on things that you've done in the past. And that's why people today don't trust you. And I like to compare you to things like Machiavellian topics, that kind of a thing, because manipulation tactics and that kind of thing. I think that's an interesting way of examining your channel. I don't know. Let me know. Do you think that is me actively trying to get people to dislike Amberlynn? Because I would genuinely be curious. Do you guys feel like I'm actively trying to get you to dislike her? Because I'm not sure what I'll do with that information, but do let me know.
Because it validates their content and it keeps you coming back. Wow.
It's my content. I don't think it does. I don't think that's what you mean. I don't think that's what you mean. But it does keep people coming back. Like, people watch my channel, they say, because they like the way I present this information. So you are correct. People do come back to watch stuff on my channel because it is about you and other girls in Girl World.
Wow, you guys, I don't know how I did it, but I answered 100 questions.
I don't either, man. That must be the longest work day you've had since October.
I hope that you guys enjoyed. I personally am exhausted. Now I have so much to edit, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I don't mind editing. Anyways, I love you guys and I will see you soon.
I do mind editing. That's why I have an editor. Thank you, editor.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, guys.
No. All right. So, since I didn't get to it while I was ranting, that was Law 15, Crush Your Enemy Totally. Amber is explicitly calling out reaction channels for dishonesty and is aiming directly to undermine our credibility, because I am one of these channels. Am I that big of a channel? No. Strategy is the war of attrition. We talk about this one a lot because she's doing it a lot. She's trying to beat this. She's trying to beat the point that we are evil, bad, icky people. There's nothing valid in anything we have to say. We are only going after her because she's a fat chick on the internet, and we are just making things up about her that are not real, right? So that is her stance. That's her hill. That's what she's going. That's the hammer she's gonna keep hitting her audience over the head with, right? Because she doesn't have anything else to come at us with. Whether she knows that these things are not true, am I going to say that every reaction channel in the YouTube verse is, you know, fairly critiquing her, and that there isn't a single channel that's making fun of her, and that no one on YouTube is coming at her purely for her body, you know, that she's a fat chick on the internet? No, I'm not going to say that, because I have seen that, right? I have seen those channels. They're usually fairly small. Or it's Alan Roberts. I don't even think he covers Amber anymore, though. So yeah, that shit does happen. But the channels that she mentions and she goes after don't do that. Maybe Jordy does, because she was saying he makes a fat joke every 2 minutes or something like that. So maybe Jordy does. I don't watch him. But honestly, the reason I stopped watching Zachary Michael is because he's nitpicky. But not in a negative, but not in a, like, bad way, right? He just, like, over nitpicks, in my opinion. But I also haven't watched him in years, so he might be different now. But that was the reason I stopped. It had nothing to do with how he treated her or anything like that. So yeah, there we go. And I did talk about the combat. I did talk about her strategy of trying to undermine Zachary Michael, and I talked about why I hate that strategy. So overall, this Q&A, as I said, pretty much every video, this is just emotional manipulation and deflection. Amber is trying to appeal to the emotions of the people in her audience who aren't against her. She's trying to manipulate their opinions of the reaction channels by saying her side of what she thinks we are. And some of them, I don't know, maybe she's right, maybe she's not. She is using her personal struggles to evoke empathy. This is called the death ground strategy. So she's trying to make a stance that she feels is solid, and she's trying to rally support around it. And that's her tactic here. She's also, as always, trying to control the narrative that she just doesn't have control of, especially on the internet, especially when she goes after the reaction channels. She does not have control of the narrative when it comes to those channels, and she never will, or she won't in anytime soon. So that's my opinion on that. That's the mirror war strategy, where you reflect the criticisms back on your detractors. So you're trying to portray their actions as evidence of hypocrisy. And I mean, does she have valid criticism? Yeah, does she have valid criticism? I can't talk anymore. Does she have valid criticisms about reaction channels? Probably, yes. I do like to hear what she legitimately has to say, and not just, you're fat phobic. I'm not, but here we are. I mean, maybe I am, but I like to hear what she really thinks is the problem with the various channels, because I like to kind of see if I am doing that, just kind of as a reality check for me, right? Do I think I am bullying her? No. Do I think I'm making shit up about her? No. When I have a theory about her or just a suspicion or something like that, I try to be pretty upfront about, this is my opinion. I think this is what's happening, but I don't have any evidence to back that up, right? So I want people to just be very clear on that topic there. So I don't think I'm like doing any of the things that she thinks I'm doing, but it's always good to, you know, self-reflect and check on those things. Maybe I am, and I just don't realize it. She's trying to exploit the critics. This is the attrition strategy. We've talked about that, I think, through all of these videos. The hammering that story of that we're just evil, icky, bad. And she's just going to keep beating that horse until whenever. I don't know when she's going to quit beating that horse, to be honest with you. These are the patterns of narrative crafting, defensive posturing, and using sympathy as a weapon, or weaponizing victimhood, if you will. So those are Amber's strategies in this war against... No, honestly, I'm the one making this up, that this is a war. So here you go. But this is Amber's war against the reaction channels. Let me know how successful you think she's being here. Is she actually... Has she persuaded anyone, any of you, to even sort of kind of contemplate her side of these arguments, her side of these stories? That would be very interesting to me. Has she managed to change her mind about anything? That is interesting to me if she has. She does make valid points here and there. So, I mean, it's not like everything she says is terrible. It's just, you know, a chunk of it. If you have made it, if you've made it this far in the Q&A videos, go ahead and put a gold trophy. I think they have a gold trophy, or like a victory vase. Put something... they have a gold trophy, right? Anyway, put that down there, or put like the first place medal or something. I see these emojis in my head. I swear they exist. Anyhow, but go ahead and put those down, because we have made it to the end of this Q&A, and we have seen the victory of this war. There you go. That's all I've got for you guys, honestly. I think I ranted enough. I feel like these videos are ridiculously long, especially these last two. I don't know why I'm so chatty, but I am. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. So the trophy and or the first prize emoji, let me know at any of the things that I asked you throughout this video, because I know I asked several things. And I will see everybody in the next one. Oh, and tell my editor they do a wonderful job. And I will see everybody in the next one. Bye!
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me, because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.